the message that Dale was just giving you was given to me a year and a half ago, and it is quite a bit more detailed. You know, it's hard to cram all this stuff. We're doing this rapid fire sequence of people up here and trying to keep this thing, you know, in a manageable time period. And those that know me well know that I am hard pressed to tell you my name, what I do in 5 minutes. I've got allotted, so I'm going to get on with it. Dale and I have known each other for 20 years, and we went in different directions, and via a lady that I knew once upon a time at a class reunion that he attended, he got my number and we became reacquainted. And he said, you know, I understand what you're doing. I've been in the trial consulting business for 13 years. And he said, I have this incredible story that I need to tell you. And I said, all righty. So we sat down, and you know, it was hours and hours and hours, and this was before it became very complicated. And he gave me this fantastic story of what had gone on with the Bay River sewer operation and river dunes and the misappropriation of money and all that sort of stuff. And I told Dale, I said, you know, without some sort of mind-expanding drug, I don't know that I can absorb all this at one time, so I need for you to break this thing down into some segments so that I can start to understand it a little bit better. So he did that, and we started to boil it down, which is what I do. I tell my attorney clients that that there's an intellectual gradient to what I do. If I can take their case and make it so that 12 people who hadn't figured out how to get out of jury duty can understand it, and they can go home and tell it to their, you know, second grade kid what their case is about, then we've done what we're supposed to do, because we have to simplify stuff. Simplification is the name of the game. So I tell people from time to time that I'm in the nutshell business. So I'm like the guy on TV. We take big things and make them small. So what it boils down to is, let me use this. With regard to the Bay River thing, that's the bottom line. They got it, they didn't. These guys are subsidizing these guys. It is as unjust as it can possibly be. We have a dedicated amount of money that is specifically designated for existing use. We have irrefutable evidence that the money was sent to river dunes, that the existing problems were not dealt with, and we have sealed documents that will indicate that. Yes, sir.
Was the sewer fee, was that all mandatory for everybody?
Yes. And so we have people, you know, in sight of this sort of thing, that live in this sort of thing, that want to get hooked into the sewer system, and they're wanting $12,500, which is about twice what it is in Aspen, Colorado. It is the most preposterous thing imaginable. So we have that is in a nutshell what's happening with Bay River Sewer. Now, in this whole effort to figure out exactly what's happening down there, and as a result of the full page ads that, yeah, Dale, I will tell you, between us and these four walls and these half dozen TV cameras, Dale is subject to go off the reservation from time to time because he's very zealous about this thing. So I was in an offshore sailing situation, and when I got back, Dale said, while you were gone, before you had a chance to tell me otherwise, I ran another full page ad and I called these people out. I'm going, look, man, I'm beyond that. I'm with you. So we started getting calls from people having to do with water quality in Pamlico County, having to do with falsification of documents in Pamlico County. People that are telling me I'm an eyewitness to these folks filling the documents out per what the regulations say, contrary to what the water tests say. And with instructions from people up the line that if you don't do this, A, you're going to lose your job, and B, the people from Raleigh are going to come down here and raise hell, was what I was told. And so if we don't falsify these documents and keep everybody calm, then the whole thing's going to come unraveled, while at the same time experiencing horrendous levels of cancer in Pamlico County. I'm becoming acquainted with this part of the world, and the situation is similar. Pat back there in the back gave me some documents on the way in that are, you know, unbelievable. So there is an enormous problem with water quality. There is a level of corruption that is perpetrated by the same people, and the resultant effect is we got dead folks all over the place while these people are getting rich. And so it's as wrong as it can be. And what we've done as far as is our effort, and all of the people that you see involved in this thing have dedicated tens of thousands of hours in order to bring something like this to the point where it can be taken into a courtroom. Requires discovery and hiring of experts, and it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's the sort of thing, if you've seen any of these movies like The Verdict or some of those things, this is the sort of thing that can bankrupt a law firm. So typically they don't touch it. You know, they don't have the resources, they don't have the manpower, they don't have the time, they don't have the inclination for whatever reason, and so it never happens. So Dale's a very persuasive guy. And I said, look, I'll dedicate the full resources of my company. We'll do the discovery work. We'll go through the exercise. We will go and bring this information to a point where we can put the right legal minds together and bring this thing to the courtroom where it needs to be. So we assembled Gene Boyce, who is a well-known, he says independent, I say Republican, but he's a conservative trial attorney, which is a rare breed. My dear friend Wade Bird is a strong Democrat trial attorney, very effective, both of whom are very attuned to the rights and the wrongs of this world. So we put them together. They are behind this thing. Neither one of them have the resources and the manpower to do the whole process, but we're moving in the right direction. So as we have gone along, we've picked up people that you're going to hear from tonight that are, you know, involved in this exercise and this process and this cause. But in order for us to get where we need to be, it is going to take an enormous amount of money at some point. So for those of you all that are overladen with cash and need to make a contribution to somebody, the Waterfront Sportsman Foundation is probably a good place to park some of it. Having said that, we wanted to come down here and talk to you all because, this thing affects the people in this part of the world just like it does Pamlico County and Washington County and the rest of them, because we're all in the same aquifer. The Castlehane aquifer is what feeds this whole part of the world. Part of this process has illustrated the fact that PCS Mining Company, who is pumping something like 70 million gallons a day from the aquifer, is strong evidence that that is what is causing the concentration of the carcinogenic materials that are causing these problems. So they're on the radar screen, they are in our sights, and they know it. And that's all going to start to become, you know, more noticed in the next little bit as some of the recent developments that have happened with one lawsuit that was filed against them recently, and we're working along those lines. But there's a lot of stuff going on. It does affect this part of the world. We're delighted to be down here talking to you about it, and we're more delighted at the level of interest. These are people, obviously, that are not going to just sit idly by and watch this thing consume this whole part of the world. I'm way over on my time. I want to introduce to you an extraordinary lady who is a former state senator, former state representative, journalist extraordinaire these days. Let me let you hear from Miss Fern Schubert.
Gee, keep talking. I like that.
Well, I said it just the same way you wrote it.